Del Walters live in Atlanta. This is Scripps News Tonight, and we are chasing a lot of stories from coast to coast. If you think you have had a day and need to be a lawyer to sort it all out, we will help sort it out for you, because courts across this country issuing rulings today that will affect just about everyone. One court ruling a school shooter's mother, his mom, is guilty of manslaughter, saying this woman, Jennifer Crumbley, should have done more to prevent a massacre. Another court today saying former President Donald Trump is instead Citizen Trump, saying presidential immunity does not protect him from any efforts to overturn the election. On Capitol Hill, that Republican-led efforts to impeach the Homeland Security chief failing because of Republicans. Is it a sign of a fracture within the GOP? And on the campaign trail, confusion in the desert Nevada, holding both a caucus and a primary, why Nikki Haley could come out on top but still lose the state. We begin tonight with one word read over and over and over again today: guilty. That is what a jury decided in the trial of the Michigan school shooter's mother. Jennifer Crumbley was found guilty on all 4 counts of manslaughter. It stems from the Oxford High School shooting in November of 2021. 4 students died on that day, and this is the first time a parent has been held liable for their child's actions. Craig Schilling is the father of the victim, Justin Schilling. He says it's not about winning or losing, but he says it is a step in the right direction.
It was a long time coming, but it's definitely a step toward the accountability, like what we've been talking about. It's kind of been our goal the whole time. It was tough to wait it out for sure. There was a lot of emotion back here and in the courtroom. It's definitely going to resonate with me for a while.
Now, the shooter, Ethan Crumbly, you see him there on the left, already serving a life sentence. That was determined in December. His father there on the right, James Crumbly, he goes on trial next month. Scripps News national correspondent Clayton Sandell has been tracking each and every development in this trial. Clayton, what else did we learn today?
Hey, Del, good evening. Yeah, it took the jury about 11 hours to make Jennifer Crumbley the first parent in the U.S. ever to be found criminally responsible for her child launching a mass shooting at his high school. This is the moment that decision came in. Take a listen.
On count 1 of involuntary manslaughter as to Madison Baldwin, we find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
There were, of course, 3 more guilty verdicts after that for a total of 4, one for each of the students murdered by Crumbley's teenage son Ethan in 2021. The jury agreed with prosecutors that Jennifer Crumbley's actions were so negligent that they were criminal in a variety of ways, from buying her son a gun and not properly securing it, to not getting him help for his mental health troubles, to not warning the school that he even had a gun. All things that prosecutors and other parents say gave Jennifer Crumbley many chances to stop the deadly attack at Oxford High. Now, today, one former criminal defense attorney who now handles civil rights cases told me that Jennifer Crumbley may be the first parent to face a prosecution like this, but she likely won't be the last, as prosecutors increasingly look to hold parents more responsible for serious crimes committed by their kids.
If your conduct is so outrageously, extremely negligent, and the outcome of your actions is predictable to a reasonable degree of certainty that someone is going to suffer a catastrophic harm, you should be on the hook.
And it is still a novel legal idea to file charges like this. Even the prosecutor in this case, Karen McDonald, told the New York Times that members of her staff even pushed back a little bit when she announced that she was filing those manslaughter charges soon after the original shooting. Today, when she heard the verdicts, Jennifer Crumbley was quiet. She kept her head down. She will be sentenced in April and could face up to 60 years in prison, depending on how the judge hands down that sentence. As you mentioned, Del, her husband goes on trial. He is facing the same set of charges. That trial begins March 5th. Del?
Clayton Sandell for us live tonight. Clayton, thank you very much. We are going to tackle this story from every angle imaginable. That is Rob Pincus. He is a gun advocate and executive vice president of 2AO.org for the Second Amendment. Rob, for the first time now, a parent has been charged with a gun crime committed by their child in a state like Michigan. We're talking about 40% of the people who live there own a gun. Did this jury get it right?
Well, first, I think it's important, Del. First, thanks for having me on tonight. Good to be back with Scripps. You guys always take a look at this in a nuanced way, I think, and there is some nuance here. You know, she was convicted of a crime of violence. She was convicted of being responsible for part of the violence that her son committed. And the gun, I don't want to say that it's not important to talk about the gun, but let's not focus on the gun. Her acts as a parent and as a gun owner, as an adult in the home, responsible for the child, responsible for the gun. I think the jury did get it right. I think that she clearly was not following best practices as a gun owner. Her husband was not. She was aware of that. And she clearly was aware that there were issues that her son had in his life where she should have realized that the mix of her negligence or her abdication of responsibility, lack of supervision, and lack of responsibility for the firearm in the home could easily have led to something, maybe not this tragic, but something bad.
Rob, I know you don't want to talk about the gun, but if we were talking about a pack of cigarettes that were handed out at the school, I don't think we'd be having this discussion right now. But that being the case, you train people to use a gun. Today, we saw a parent convicted for her action or lack thereof. And I wonder, what was your reaction when you heard it? Because how will this affect your training so that trail of liability doesn't lead right back to you?
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, I'm a parent. I'm a gun owner. I'm a firearms manufacturer. I'm a gun rights advocate. And as you noted, I've primarily for the last 25 years been an educator in the use of defensive firearms. In the manual that I wrote for the firearm that I designed, we talk about responsible storage and staging of defensive firearms. I advocate for and help promote the use of things like lock boxes and even just a padlock on the very box that came with that firearm could have slowed down or even prevented this tragedy from happening. I think every firearms owner needs to be very aware that their number one responsibility is to prevent unauthorized access to their firearm. We go as far as to tell people when they're a new gun owner that hasn't been educated in the safe and responsible use of that gun, they are part of the group of people that shouldn't be carrying the gun or using the gun until they get that in.
So if they don't do that, should they be concerned that the next time the law knocks on the door, it could be the door that they live behind?
Well, I think that the issue is just, again, for parents and for gun owners in general, we are responsible for our children's actions. We are to some extent responsible for what happens with our firearms. And I think we need to understand what best practices are and what reasonableness is. When you look at the facts of this case, there were some guns that were locked up and secured in the house. Those security devices, the lock safe that was in the master bedroom, could have been defeated by a determined 15-year-old or an adult or anyone with nefarious actions. But at least those guns were secured. The gun that was used in these murders was not secured, and in fact was presented to this clearly troubled child as a gift, as something that was theirs, that was their possession, and they had unfettered access to it. That's a problem. And I absolutely want all gun owners and all parents to be very aware of the responsibility that we have and meet that responsibility by securing their guns. Now,
hey,
we
Rob,
have to
we're
be
going to
aware
have Chris
that
Brown on in a second, from the Brady Foundation. Guess who's going to agree with you? Chris Brown from the Brady Foundation. Haven't gun...
It might not be the first time. What we probably don't agree on is that I think this case sets a really nice precedent from the gun rights perspective. We don't need extra laws that mandate special rules around guns. What we need is to hold people responsible when their actions result in something tragic happening. You can't mandate safety.
But she'll point to Columbine, Parkland, Oxford. She will point to so many different school shootings and say, if that was the case, then why does it keep happening?
Well, my recollection is that in Columbine, and I'm in Denver, Colorado tonight. I've been here for a long time in Colorado. In Columbine, those guns were stolen, and there was forcible entry made to steal those guns. Sandy Hook, the guns, again, were presented to the child as a mother-son activity. In this case, we know that this gun was not secured, was not hidden, and was presented as a possession or something that this troubled child could access. And I think there's a vast difference here. So should the grandfather in the Columbine shooting be held responsible for those guns being stolen? Absolutely not. Should the father in Illinois who told the Illinois State Police that he was going to take responsibility for making sure his kid didn't have access to firearms or violent weapons, tools of violence, that then ended up shooting up a parade at the 4th of July, be held accountable? I believe so. In this case, I believe, again, the mother, and we'll soon see the trial of the father, clearly they abdicated their responsibility here and did not do the things they were supposed to be doing as responsible humans, let alone parents and gun owners. But I don't think we need special laws. We don't need to punish gun owners before they've done anything wrong. We don't need to restrict rights. We need to encourage responsibility and, again, intervene.
Chris, as someone who was at Columbine, are we now at the point where with this verdict we can honestly say that guns do kill people?
I'm sorry, were you asking Chris or
Yes. Rob, sorry.
Oh, no, I don't want to misrepresent. I was not at Columbine. I was a law enforcement officer at the time on the East Coast. I'm in Denver now. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. People kill people with fire, with bombs, with sticks, with knives, and with guns. It's not the gun, it's the person, and we need to be responding to behavior. And again, torturing animals, the notes, the pictures, the drawings, the text messages, the hallucinations. These parents and the school system, to some degree, were well aware that this was a troubled individual who needed mental health attention, and he didn't get it. And that person took this action, and those parents not taking action is why I do think they're being held criminally negligent.
Got to leave it there. My apologies for calling you Chris. I was looking at her in the monitor because when we come back, we're going to be talking to her. Rob Pincus, thank you. We're going to talk to someone who is trying to unite Americans against violence. That is the person we were talking about. The president of Brady will be joining us next to discuss this verdict and what parents can do to protect their children and whether she agrees with Rob that guns don't kill people. Stay with us.